We're in tune to your number one station, 98.3 FM, 1280 AM, WJAY. Early Saturday morning gospel start time, the sound of Charles Jenkins. Keep the faith. At this time, we're going to switch over to Studio B and listen to my sports teacher. That's none other than Michael Jenkins. Good morning to you, brother Michael Jenkins.
Good morning, Tater, your sports teacher. Well, I'm glad that we learned some things from each other. I learned some musical stuff from you. You learned some sports things from me. And we have just a good old time on Saturday mornings. Me and old Tater right here. Been doing it for years. Anyway, good morning to the program today. My name is Michael Jenkins, in case you're new. And, of course, football season is upon us. But I was just looking through the ticket center because I was contemplating getting a ticket to watch the Kentucky Wildcats come to town against the South Carolina Gamecocks. That's on the 27th of September. And, of course, Squirt's on that team, and he's starting this year. And then I started looking at the prices. And then reality kind of set in. I said, you know what, maybe I'll take my grandson to the game to see a local star play. So I ordered up 2 tickets, or I started to order up 2 tickets. And this is the cheapest ones right here for this game. And it would have me sitting in section 904, row 20. What's up, Randy? How you doing, buddy? Sorry we didn't connect yesterday. And those tickets would cost me $139 a piece. $139 a piece. So, we're looking at, $300 basically just for tickets. Then there's parking. And then my grandson is a growing boy, and he'll be eating. Me out of house, no. So, yeah. So I go down and say, maybe I'll get a more expensive ticket. Maybe I'll go by myself. So I scroll up further and I get to the section where they said this is a great deal, section 5, row 2. This one is $609. Okay. And let me see what that's at over there. Yeah, it's a pretty good seat for sure. So I scale on further. I said, wow, if I wanted to really be in high cotton, maybe I'll grab this section 106, row 7 seat. And that one will cost me $1,369. So I won't be paying that price to see Squirt, but I could possibly be paying the $139 because I do want to get there. Good morning, Miss K.M. Hemingway. How are you today? On this beautiful, wet Saturday morning. But all mornings are beautiful. Okay, folks? The reason why I say it's a beautiful morning, because it is. Because if you were on your deathbed and someone said, hey, man, we'll give you one more day. It'll be that terrible, rainy Saturday morning. Would you take it? You'll jump all over it. Right? And me too. At any rate, the football season is upon us. And I laid some stuff out. First, I want to talk a little bit about South Florence. Because they are ranked number 1 in Class 4A this year. And South Florence is a program that has come from a mighty long way. They were not good back in the day. In fact, back in the Bob Rankin days, Bob Rankin was scheduling South Florence and West Florence every single year. Those were 2 wins in the books, done. But time went on, and South Florence got better. Jalik Lester, what's going on, my friend? How you doing, fam? But this is what South Florence has done. Okay, going back to 2019, 2020, they were 3-8, 2-3 in the conference. 2020 to 2021, they were 8-6, so they got better there, starting to look a little bit better. Did well in 2021-22, they were 7-4, 4-2 in the conference. 2022-23, they stepped all the way up and won a state championship and went 15-0, 5-0 in the conference. Then they went 14-1 in 23 and 24. 24-25, they went 12-3. And then, okay, but the thing about South Florence is they have a record of, I think I added up to 48-4 in these last three. So the program has really moved forward. I mean, you can say that unequal. And right now, they're favored this year, possibly to win the state championship. Good morning, Miss Dolores Williams. I was just listening to your son's video. I'm going to play it in a little bit if I can get to it. But I'm talking about T.J. Sanders and how impressed I was with the way he was handling the press. I mean, it's like this guy's been doing this all along. But we'll get back to that later. But South Florence is a team that is going to be a problem. Let's take a look at the rankings for a minute. I don't know where I'm at here. Let's see. Let's go here. And, oh, man. Tried to get to a post that someone sent me. And I want to see if I can do this. Messages. No, this ain't gonna work. Well, wow. That puts a wrench into my program here. But at any rate, I want to talk about, let's look at the top teams, for instance, and see how they did last year. Okay. Well, Dillon is ranked number 1. And Dillon has been really good over the years, and they've won state championships. Leo Phillips, I was just looking for your message you sent me, man, about the rankings, and I can't put it up. But anyway, so Dillon is there, and right now they are ranked number 1. They last year finished 2-2, 5-1 in the conference. The year before, 9-4, 3-1 in the conference. 22-23, they were 9-4, 3-1 in the conference. Then in 21-22 is when they went undefeated, 15-0, 4-0 in the region. And then there was the pandemic year. So Dillon has been in the mix all this time, consistently throughout the years. And that has not changed at all. And I don't expect that it will. So, Leo, what you got for me, bro? What's happening over there in Dillon? You guys, getting it together or what? Looking at this is the double A number 1 right here. Is it double A? What's this 3A? I'm saying this is 2A. Batesburg, Leesville. Let me see. Make sure I got it. That was 2A. Okay, so Batesburg, Leesville is number 1 2A team in the state. And how has Batesburg done in the last few years or so? Last year they finished 12-1. The year before that they didn't do it very well. They were 5-6. They were 4-7 the year before, 3-4 the year before, 3-3. So Batesburg, Leesville has had struggles, but apparently this is the year that last year they really turned it around. And I guess based on some things that that the coaches, the local statewide coaches who create the poll have seen, they see something big coming from them this year. Leo says, we are just working. Well, you got to be working, bro. Hey, man, when do you guys scrimmage or got any jamborees coming up or whatever? Humongous. Boy, Dewani Flagger. One of the superstars of a great era for Mullins football. And by the way, Dewani, Mullins is on the move back up. Okay, they had fallen off really bad, but looks like Mullins is on their way back. This kid, Kanazian, their quarterback, is getting a lot of buzz. So, I mean, I don't know how that's going to be when he hits the field. But I know he's getting a lot of buzz. What's up, Terrell Pinckney? How you doing out there, buddy? In statewide football land. Now, Abbeville is a team that perennially is one of the best teams in the state, year in, year out. And I was just looking at what they have done over the years, and it's been amazing. The first time I really heard of Abbeville was when Mullins' baseball team went down to play a deciding game in the Class 2A baseball state championship several years way back, end of 90s, I think 99 or something like that. And I had never heard of Abbeville before. I tell you one thing, Abbeville is a long way from here. I learned that much, 200 and something miles easy, close to it anyway. But this is what Abbeville football has done. Starting with last year, they were 13-1, 5-0. The year before, 12-2, 5-0. The year before, 13-2, 5-0. The year before, 12-1, 5-0. 2020 to 2021, 11-0 and 5-0. 19 through 20, 13-1, 5-0. 18 and 19, 14-0, 5-0. 17 to 18, 14-1, 3-0. 16, 17, 14-0. 15, 16, 12-2. 14, 15, they hit a bump in the road. Okay, so 2014-15, they were 5-7, and they were 4-8 the year before, and that was before an 11-3 mark in 2012-2013. Abbeville folks love football. Abbeville folks know football, and apparently there's a cauldron of talent in that area, in Abbeville, that keeps manifesting itself every single year. I mean, it's the craziest thing in one of the most successful programs ever in the state of South Carolina. Let's see here. Okay. Now, I'm not going to be able to get my... Let me try this. Let me try this. Okay, 24, 25. No. It doesn't work because it's on my phone. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm wearing all this old Eagles gear with the old Donovan McNabb shirt. And something just occurred to me. It occurred to me that the Eagles sit atop the football world right now. And that doesn't sound like a big deal, but if you ever followed the Eagles over the years, and I did, I wasn't necessarily an Eagles fan, but the Eagles have been kind of like comical in a way for many years. No one expected them to ever do anything. No one expected them to win. And then they started winning. But one thing that I'm very proud of, as far as the Eagles go, is that they took a chance on Jalen Hurts. Now, you remember, here's a guy whose whole career flashed in front of his eyes on national TV when he was benched. Everybody went over to the other side. Oh, this guy is so much better. He's a great. Sebastian Page, my brother, how you doing? How that baby doing this morning? But people had kind of written him off a little bit. And a lot of guys in the sports group had written him off. But he didn't write himself off. So after being benched, he eventually left and went to Oklahoma to kind of re-jumpstart his pro aspirations, prospects. And he did well there, and he got drafted in the second round by the Eagles. Now, there were some Eagle fans that I know. I'm talking about some real Eagle fans here. I ain't calling no name. But they weren't crazy about the draft. You know, they were already sold on Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, because he was always hurt. I was never sold on Carson Wentz. So, fast forward to Jalen, or Jalen. They got Jaden's out there, they got Jalen's out there. But I knew this kid was going to be special because he had this fortitude. The guy was wanting to be good. Now he's a Super Bowl winner. And now the Eagles are favored to win the Super Bowl again. Under a guy that was tossed to the side during a national championship game. So I'm very happy for him. As I said, I am not a true Eagles fan. I'm not even going to front like that. But I like the Eagles, and I always have. I think I first started liking the Eagles back in the 70s when they played the Giants at the Meadowlands. And what do they call that? They called it the fumble. Giants quarterback Joe Pisarcik, all he had to do was take a knee. Would have been the last play of the game, I believe. But he didn't take that knee. He fumbled the ball. Herm Edwards scooped it up, headed to the goal line. Touchdown, Eagles. That is probably one of the most infamous games in Giants history. But I started liking the Eagles from that point forward. And then they've always had a penchant for getting African-American quarterbacks. Randall Cunningham, Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick, some other guys along the way. And now Jaden. But at any rate, that's one of the reasons I've liked the Philadelphia Eagles all these years. And that's why I wear their colors and their gear. Of course, I need a new hat now because this one is fading away. But you think about South Florence, West Florence, Mullins, Hartsville. These are the teams that are, for instance, Hartsville is a team that every single year they seem to be in the mix. Hartsville sports program has been one of the best. And you can go around the area to West Florence, and West Florence has improved immensely. They are number one, they're number 2, I believe, in the state in 5A Division II. And of course, you've got Dutch Fork up there, Class 5A Division I. But West Florence and South Florence have done very well. Now, Wilson has kind of like been stumbling for the last several years or so. I'm not sure what happens this year with them. What's up, Josh? How you doing, buddy? I'm not sure what happens with them this year. But Tiger fans are very impatient fans. They think that they're supposed to be up there all the time. They think maybe that they're Dylan. But they're not. But they have been good. They have had their moments. Now, looking over here at Marion and Mullins, I'm not sure what Marion has this year. I don't really go to practices. I don't go to any practices, basketball or football anymore. I just wait until see what falls out on the bottom. But a very reliable source of mine, George Gurley, a guy that I depend on almost every year. I depend on his opinion. Not that I always agree with it, but I depend on him because he's usually spot on. He loves Marion. He's a big Swamp Fox guy through and through. Coached there, played there, everything. But he's always kind of like straight to the point when it comes to Swamp Fox football. And right now, George is not very optimistic this year. Okay? it's incumbent upon the Swamp Fox players to go out there and prove him wrong. And they've done that over the years as well. But he's not feeling too good about his Swamp Foxes going into this season. He always gives me a number. And what was his number this year? I think he said 3-8 was a possibility. And then he said they could possibly end up at 500. I don't know. I hadn't seen any practices. I don't know anything. I have to depend on George for his expertise. And he knows football through and through. I found out George was pretty much a mathematician too, by the way. I know it's got nothing to do with this, but the guy's a numbers genius. But he is not optimistic this year. I mean, I hope he's wrong. Now, people in Mullins are very excited. I've seen pictures of Mullins' football team. The uniforms look great. Mullins has a coach now that seems to have them on the right track. During the summer, they he took them out to some camps or whatever, exposing them. The coach seems to be all in. Miko, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking. And I know you were out there too. Mayor Miko Pickett, loving the Eagles. But I like the way Mullins' uniforms look. Of course, I hadn't seen anything else. I hadn't really heard anything else. But I think from what I seen last year, they got some pieces. And I believe Mullins will probably do well this year. Who knows about the Marion and Mullins game? Antoine Norman, good morning. How you doing, buddy? Long time no see. But that's what's going on. Football's about to jump off. I had some other stuff here. I tell you, I feel almost surrounded now by pro players, local pro players, and local future pro players. I look at Cam Smith of Mullins, who's with the Miami Dolphins. I look at TJ Sanders from Marion, cousins, by the way, who is with the Buffalo Bills. And I look at some near pro players, or maybe even future pro players. Tyshawn Sanders, TJ's brother, and Squirt, TJ's cousin. Is this wait a minute, is this a pattern here? All these people is cousins, and family, and brothers. The Smith family is producing. Smith, Cross, you name it. That whole cross, that whole family right there is producing. And I heard an interview with TJ Sanders the other day. I was really impressed. The crazy thing about it is that I responded to the video, and all of a sudden, Josh Allen, the quarterback for Buffalo, is loving my response. I'm like, wait a minute. Is that the Josh Allen right there? But it was. So TJ is doing fine. He seems to be handling the press really well. And I got to tell you, I was really impressed with him and how he was handling things. It's almost like he had been doing this all along. Like he's had some training along the way. And I'm trying to get this thing here, folks. Yeah, it's like he's been doing this all his life. Anyway, let's see if this video will come up. I want to play some of this. TJ Sanders. thing.
Man, everybody just preparing every day. My first experience of it. I'm just getting ready as I can. Excitement, juice, anxious, man. I'm just ready to get out there, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, where are you at in terms of having a good feel for this defense?
As far as like the mental side, I feel like every day is growing. We are putting new things in every day. Just trying to get adjusted. And I feel like I've been doing a pretty good job of that. And physically, just the same thing every day, just taking it one step at a time. Trying to get it, where it slows down for me.
Now that you're in it and repping it, what excites you about playing in Sean McDermott and Bobby Babbich's defense?
Honestly, the guys I'm surrounded by, Ed, Greg, Joey, all the whole room, D tackles, D ends, just guys that seen growing up and getting a chance to play beside them. I'm really excited for that.
Talked to Coach Babish earlier. He was saying consistency is something that he's noticed from you. What is something that you particularly have been focusing on to stay more consistent?
Just coming in every day trying to get 1% better. It's a thing I prided myself on since college, coming in and just having something, a plan to get better at and detailed every day.
Up with Ed Oliver, what does he bring as a veteran?
He bring the juice, man, the knowledge and just experience, and I'm always in his ear. It ain't no question I've asked him that he didn't have an answer to. He just been a great vet for me, to just lean on, get a lot of experience from him. With Daquan, it's more so, it's like seeing, it's like learning with him. He don't really talk as much as Ed, but like what he shows and puts on tape, it's like nothing like I didn't think I'd see an older guy like that moving like that. Honestly, I think it's like year 12, and like just him getting off the ball, him rushing, it kind of caught me off guard. How well he was moving, at the age he is.
How would you describe the defensive line unit as a whole? You guys have so many players a part of it right now. What is the vibe that you're getting from the group?
I feel like it's just a bunch of different personalities, a bunch of different guys all meshing into one. Being that we know we all got to rush as one, 4 of us up front on the D-line. And, I just feel like before we can do that on the field, off the field, like the gel, like the bonds we've been building, it's going to be important for us.
What's the most difficult part about finding that gel with so many new faces on the D-line this year?
I wouldn't say it's difficult, but probably like something that could come up is like just the time. We're always at practice. Always in meetings. Trying to learn the playbook. So just trying to make that time for us. Off the field to kind of just learn more about it.
Well, now folks, you had to be impressed by that. I certainly was. Yeah, Miko, I left out Xavier Legette. Really? And Xavier Legette, probably the guy that's further along in his career in the pros than any of the guys that I just mentioned.
Man, everybody just preparing.
I'm really impressed and really happy to see the kids thriving. This is a different time now, where before the hopes and dreams were not as high as they are now. Kids feel now that the pros is makeable, much more makeable than maybe it was, maybe the kids thought some years ago. But there's a bunch of kids from around here who are doing well and who are making this next step. And it's just great to see that TJ Sanders, a kid that's been on this radio with us before, I mean, if I could find the video, I'd find it and play it, but he's been here. In fact, many of the kids have been here on the radio program before. So it's really special to see them now, thriving at the next level, becoming professionals. And I even had a contact the other day with Zion, not personally, but his buddies, the twins, contacted me the other day and said Zion asked about me and said he wants to call into the show one day. I mean, really? Yeah. I'm looking forward to when Zion calls into the radio station here, and I think the twins will make it happen. I'm depending on you guys. Anyway, folks, that's all the time I have left. I'll be back next week with more. Have a wonderful, safe week. Later.